Hello, welcome back to Kim Reads as we continue with Samantha Learns a Lesson. Chapter 6, Winners. In Mount Better School that afternoon, Nellie watched proudly as Samantha pinned her award to the wall. "Can I hear your speech, Samantha?" Nellie asked. There was no doubt in Nellie's mind that her friend's speech would have been the best ever written since Abraham Lincoln's. Samantha cleared her throat and used her proper voice. She repeated her speech just as she had at the academy, remembering with a thrill the applause that followed it. She finished proudly and then looked at Nellie for the praise she was sure was coming. Nellie was staring at the floor and running her finger along the edge of the cushion. "Well?" asked Samantha. "It's very nice," said Nellie in a voice that wasn't really nice at all. Samantha felt hurt. "Well, what's the matter with it?" she asked. "It's very nice. It's just, it's not very true," said Nellie. "What do you mean?" I used to work in a factory, Samantha. It's not like that." Nellie had worked in a factory. Samantha had almost forgotten that. "Well, what was a factory like then?" she asked. Nellie was quiet. She remembered working things she didn't want to remember. "I worked in a big room with other kids," she said finally. 20 others, I guess. But that didn't make it fun. We couldn't play. We couldn't even talk. The machines were very noisy. They were so noisy that when I got up at home at night, my ears were buzzing, and it was a long time before I could hear anything. We had to go from work from 7 in the morning, and we worked until 7 at night. Every day but Sunday." Nellie continued. "I worked on those machines that wound the thread. There were hundreds of spools. We had to put in new ones when the old ones got full and tied the thread if it broke. We had to stand up all the time. I got so tired, Samantha. My back hurt, my legs hurt, and my arms got heavy. The machine got fuzz and dust all over everything. It was in the air, and it was in my mouth, and it made it hard to breathe." Nellie was quiet again, but then she went on. "The room was awful hot during the summer, but it was worse in winter because there wasn't any heat. Our feet nearly froze. We couldn't wear shoes." Samantha was shocked. "You couldn't wear shoes?" "We had to climb on the machines to change the spools, and shoes could make us slip. The machines were so strong they could break your hand or your foot or pull your finger off as easy as anything. We all had to have our hair short. If hair was long, the machines could catch it and pull it out. They just kept winding. Once I saw it happen to a girl. She was just standing there, and then all of a sudden she was screaming. Half her head was bleeding. She almost died." Nellie was running her finger along the edge of the cushion again. "They paid us $1.80 a week." She looked straight at her friend. "That's why thread is so cheap." Samantha stared at Nellie. She couldn't move. She felt numb and cold, but her scalp was tingling and her arms had a strange ache in them. The Mount Bedford Opera House was used for most of the town's special events. It served as Mount Bedford for everything from roller skating parties to concerts. On the evening of the young people speaking contest, it was filled with wooden chairs. The contest speakers sat on the stage, facing parents and friends all over town. Grandmary sat in the second row, wearing a gray silk dress and looked calmly and stately. Nellie sat with her mother near the back of the room. She looked shy and out of place. As the president of the Mount Bedford Ladies' School stepped to the front of the page, smiling and bobbing her head, the room grew quiet. She welcomed everyone and then introduced the speakers and told what schools they represented. Then it was time for the speeches. One of the boys from the Lessing School told about a new building that was 20 stories high. He said that from now on all cities would be different because of it. Another boy talked about automobiles and spoke about electric lights. A girl from the public school talked about medicine. She said people didn't get sick as much as they used to. Then it was Edith Edelton's turn. Edith walked in front of the stage like an army general. She paused for a moment with her head to a little one side. Then she boomed out her speech in a voice meant to reach the opera house doors and beyond. "We are indeed fortunate to live in this age of progress. Progress is the great American adventure. In the old days, a man had to work all day and night to support himself and his family. But now, in modern America, great machines can be great benefit to everyone. Now, everyone can have all he needs without a difficult struggle. Fortunes can be made now as never before. Now with the help of great machines, anyone can become wealthy. What a great opportunity a man has in the 20th century. Are we not fortunate to live in this great age of progress? Everyone clapped loudly as Edith returned to her chair in triumph. She sat down, smoothed her dress, and smiled at Samantha. Samantha heard her name called. She woke in front of the stage calm. She didn't look at Miss Crampton and Miss Stevens. She knew what they were expecting her to say. But she had learned something more about factories from Nellie, and now she had something else to say. In her mind, she could hear the words she had been practicing ever since her last lesson at Mount Better School. Americans are very proud of being modern, Samantha began. We are proud of our progress. We are proud of the machines in our factories because they make many new things for us. But Americans are proud of being truthful too. If we were truthful, we would say that the factory makes things fast and cheap, but they are dangerous too. They can hurt the children who work in the factories. The machines can break their arms. They cut off their fingers. They can make children sick. And the children who work in factories don't have time to play or go to school. They are too tired. Samantha spoke calmly and clearly. She had discovered something. She had discovered that it is easy to talk to people, even to many people, if you really believe what you're saying. If our factories can hurt children, then we have not made good progress in America, Samantha continued. And I believe Americans want to be good. I believe we want to be kind. If we are kind, I believe we will take care of the children. Then we can truly be proud of our factories and our progress. As Samantha walked back to her chair at the end of her speech, there was a long silence. Grandmary looked a little shocked. How could Samantha have known such things? Then Grandmary looked back at Nellie. Nellie was sitting with her back straight and her eyes shining. And Grandmary understood. She understood a great deal. A proud smile spread across her face and began to applaud. Her applaud joined the clapping that began all over the room and grew a big long roar of approval. Edith Endleton looked rather like a snowman who had been left too long in the sun. The next time Samantha and Nellie sat in the Mount Better School, it was not for a lesson. It was for a celebration. Samantha's first prize medal hung from its blue ribbon in the schoolroom hall. The girls were eating cookies and little cakes with pink frosting. Mrs. Hawkins had made them a whole picture of lemonade. They sat on cushions with napkins on their lips, feeling very pleased with themselves. Nellie sighed happily as she finished her cookie. She leaned against the wall. I'm glad we're celebrating today, Samantha. Something nice happened to me. Oh, said Samantha eagerly to share her friend's good news. What? Nellie smiled shyly. I moved to 3rd grade. Samantha jumped up, spun around, and clapped with her hands. Nellie, that's wonderful. That's just wonderful. And she stopped and looked at her friend. Nellie didn't look as happy as she should. You didn't tell me right away, Nellie. What's wrong? Nellie looked at her napkin, and then she looked back at Samantha. I have the desk next to Eddie Ryland. Samantha's eyes grew wide, and she sank back on the floor. Ooh, Nellie, she said with a feeling. Both girls were quiet for a minute. Then Samantha pushed the cookies away and reached for a book. Hurry up and finish your lemonade. We've got to start studying. We've got to move you up to the head of the class. And that is the end of Samantha Learns a Lesson. Thanks for listening. Goodbye.